Hey, I wanted to talk about the Musashi Gold Series. So, Gold, cue up that old Spandau Ballet hit right now. Um, the Gold Series is the mid-range katana offering. If you want something nicer than, say, the silver, it's kind of like the difference between Ford and Mercury. In many cases, you get a few nice amenities to go with it, a little bit higher quality, but it's pretty much in many ways the same thing. However, the Gold range is a lot wider than the silver range. Silver range is pretty consistent in what they give you, whereas the gold range runs from $300 katanas up to over $1,000 before you get up to platinum, which is, I don't know if it's worth it or not for platinum from them, but I've never seen one, so I don't know. So theoretically, you could have anything from a Mercury up to like a Lincoln in the Gold Series. I'm looking at a couple of semi-lower end versions of it today that are commonly available, and I happen to like them quite a bit for the money spent. And the first one that I got is this one, the Umi, the ocean katana. In many ways, it's very similar to a silver series in terms of the suka dynamics. You've got a very nice geometry to the handle, still about 11.5 inches long, still got the real ray skin. This one has that kind of fuzzy cotton wrap that's not the most attractive, but it's comfy and it's not slippy, so that's pretty well done. You still get the basic piano lacquered saya scabbard, but you get a nicer sageo. You get the heavier duty the cord there, so that's something that's an upgrade. But the rest of it isn't much better. What you're getting in terms of the fixtures, though, are a bit of an upgrade. They are cast brass. That includes the pommel, the kashira, the fuchi, which is the collar at the top of the handle, and then the guard, the suba, and they've all been treated with this kind of antiquing, this blackening. Now the problem is, out of the box, they overdo it. So the first couple of times you handle the sword, it looks like you lost a fight with a toner cartridge. It's all over your hands and very hard to get off. After a little bit of polishing and cleaning up, it starts to reveal itself as having some really nice brass underneath it. And the castings they're pretty well done, and they're very solid, so they look nice. So that's an upgrade. The major upgrade, though, in these is the blade. What you're getting in this particular blade is called Kobuse Kitae. And basically what that means is it is a laminate. You've got basically two kinds of steel. Supposedly in this case you've got a 1060 and a 1045. Now 1045 is usually a little bit too soft to make a whole sword out of. A lot of people do it because it's easy to work with and it's cheap and create sword-shaped things that hold sort of an edge and kind of hard to destroy. But softer steel, yeah, it's not going to break, but it's probably going to bend and stay bent, so that's why you don't want it. 1060 is a good middle-of-the-road steel for making a sword out of, and has the best of both worlds in terms of hardness and resilience, and also the softness, so it's not going to break so easily. So what they do with this is they take that harder steel, and they make kind of a tent or a triangle out of it, and then they put the soft steel in the core of the sword towards the back. And this is actually how a lot of Japanese handmade World War II swords were put together. And I have some, and they're pretty darn sturdy. I don't have a lot of fear that they're going to break and bending. They bend back again and things like that. Those have a very, very hard edge and a very, very soft spine. The back of the blade, is actually the most vulnerable part of it, especially if it gets hit with something hard or sharp. But in these, they kind of went middle of the road with them. What you're getting out of that, and it's going to be really hard to see in any kind of light that I can produce, but up close there is a Damascus grain to this sword. It's very fine, but it is definitely there. You also, of course, have the real temper line, and this again is about a 55 Rockwell, which is not the hardest, but it's certainly good enough to hold an edge and cut with. Now, this particular sword has a very standard Shinogi Zukiri classic katana profile. So you've got the edge plane and then the ridge plane, the side plane. It's just they're very well done. They're very even. There is a good distal taper to the blade, so it starts out thicker and ends up thinner towards the tip, which gives it a good balance for a solid sword. It's a little bit more on the heavy side, but it doesn't feel bad at all in the hand. So that was something that I took into consideration. This makes it a good solid sword, and it's good for cutting. There's not a lot of resistance, so it's a pretty good sword overall. But liking it, I decided, well, what if it was lighter? You know, what would that be like? Well, thankfully, Musashi was able to accommodate me with kind of a sister blade. Actually, by the way, this one, you can get it either in this black or you can get it in all white. So it has a white scabbard saya and white wrapping, but yeah, white's not gonna, especially with all that blackening on the fixtures, that's gonna be a nightmare. You're not gonna want to mess with that for any length of time whatsoever. The Umigame, which is a sea turtle. Now, not particularly into sea turtles. I'll kind of show you what sold this one to me in a little bit. It's got a couple of differences in it. One, of course, the color. It's nice, bright, but not obnoxious blue and kind of a sea blue wrapping. Now, this wrapping is in an artificial silk, and it's not as spongy soft, so I don't think that's quite as well done. Another problem that came with this one, again, you're getting the same kind of brass fixtures on it, but the end cap it's not on quite straight. It needed a little bit of tapping to get it, and it's still not quite right. So that gives me a sense that, you know, manufacturing quality control was not fully up to snuff. Again, you've got a slightly higher grade Sageo cord, but in this one, the fitting with the scabbard, it's really loose. This is going to take some adjustment. This is almost dangerous. It's going to fall out. So that's not a good sign. Putting that aside and taking a look at the blade, it is pretty much the same sword, except it has the groove. It has the fuller in it, which does indeed take a lot of the weight off the blade. You still get that really nice real hem and temper line. You still get the the grain, the Hada, from the fact that it is laminated with soft core, hard outside, and it's sharp. It's very, very, very well balanced. So it is actually a really good sword. I do like it. I do like wielding it and using it and cutting with it. And again, for the price differential, MSRP on these is about $300, but I got them for a lot less. Let's just say that. If you shop around, you can get them for a lot less, and they're certainly worth it. I mean, as a decent sword that also has some character to it, that's kind of pretty. It's got the grain, and it's got the lamination. Does having a sword that's laminated to Damascus make it a better sword? No, not really. Sometimes you get a lamination that's really done well with some really good steels that has some advantages and potentially some disadvantages. But it's, in this particular blade, we're still talking a middle-of-the-road entry-level katana that's good for show and it's good for use. It's something that, about a step up from the Silver Series in this case. One of the things that did sell it to me quite a bit, and I'll see if I can get him on camera, is I only saw it when I bought it from this end of it, where you see like the back of the tortoise's shell there on the top of the guard. I didn't get to see the other side until I got a better shot of it, but it's going to be a little bit hard to see. But yes, the tortoise has a little cute, he's got a little cute demon face. So yeah, I had to have him. Just for that. I'm a sucker. But again, it was the same problem with all the fixtures being coated in something that was the consistency of printer toner. Needed a lot of polishing to get some of the details off and not leave it all on my hand every time I picked up the sword. So that's just a quick look at the Gold Series. The other things you get with the Gold Series, it still comes in your basic black sword bag, so that's nothing. But the little bonus they give you for buying the more expensive sword is you get this nice silk sword box. Instead of the very attractive cardboard box with the Musashi logo, you actually have a silk covered dragon sword box, and in the box you get a cleaning kit, which is just a basic cleaning kit. It's nothing fancy, just a plain wooden box with a couple of cleaning and disassembly tools in it that are fairly standard. It's probably about a $10 thing by itself, but again, it's another little nice touch to sweeten the deal of going up from Ford to Mercury kind of a thing. But yeah, I do consider these swords worthwhile if you want to spend that extra $100-something or so. Definitely, they're worth it. I can't really say much bad about them. Are they great swords? No, they like I said, they have their flaws and their problems, and they're about average. So if you just want something to use that's also got some character and is pretty to look at, I would certainly say go for a Musashi Gold Series. They probably will hold up to a lot of use and abuse and be just fine. So I hope you found that informative, entertaining, and I hope to see you again.